Who will you become? Level 1. The student. The ejection seat fires. You're not in it. You're on the ground, watching the $250,000 of aircraft and explosive cushion arc away from the fuselage without a pilot. It was your jet. You were supposed to be pre-flighting it. You skipped a step in the cockpit inspection because the sun was hot and the senior pilot was rushing you. Now, the safing pins are still in the seat. Now, a maintenance technician is on the tarmac screaming into a radio. The board of inquiry is in 3 days. You're 22 years old and you might have just ended your career before it started. The call comes at 2:13 a.m. the night before the hearing. It's your instructor, not the one who yelled at you, the quiet one, the one with the gnarled hands and the 1,000-yard stare who never raises his voice. He says one thing. Did you learn it? You say yes. He hangs up. At the hearing, you don't make excuses. You stand at attention and state the fact. You violated procedure. You own it completely. The board members look at you like you're a bug under glass. Then the quiet instructor walks in. He testifies that in the last 6 months, you've logged the highest simulator scores in your class, that you're a fast learner, that mistakes on the ground don't always predict performance in the air. They reinstate you. Probationary status. You owe him. You realize the first rule of the system. Mistakes are currency. You spend them. You learn the price. And someone always pays. You walk onto the flight line the next morning. The tarmac smells like jet fuel and hydraulic fluid. The aircraft is waiting. You run the pre-flight checklist 3 times. You touch every pin, every latch, every seal. You will never skip a step again. But that's not the lesson. The lesson is that the system let you stay because someone decided you were worth the risk. Now you have to prove them right. You strap in. The canopy closes. The world outside goes silent. And for the first time, you realize you're completely alone.
Level 2. The wingman. Your first real deployment. The carrier deck is a moving city of chaos. Jet blast deflectors rise and fall. Yellow shirts wave wands. The air smells like salt and burnt kerosene. You're parked on the catapult, engine spool to full afterburner, the stick shaking in your grip. The catapult officer drops to one knee and points forward. The shot punches you in the chest. 0 to 160 knots in 2 seconds. The deck drops away. You're airborne. Your lead is a captain with 400 carrier landings. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't need to. You learn by watching. You learn by doing exactly what he does, exactly when he does it. Formation flying is an art of trust. You put your wingtip 36 inches from his. At 400 knots, that's a heartbeat away from death. If he turns, you turn. If he jukes, you juke. You don't think, you react. Your brain becomes an extension of his jet. The first engagement is a training exercise against an aggressor squadron. You're flying as his eyes. Your radar sweeps the sky. Your job is to call out threats and clear his 6. You make a call. Bogey, 3 o'clock low. He doesn't see it. You say it again. He acknowledges. He brakes hard, and the bogey overshoots. After the flight, he nods at you on the ladder. Once. That's all. You start to understand the code. It's not about medals or commendations. It's about being reliable. It's about being the person other pilots want in their formation. Because in a merge, when the G-forces crush your vision to a tunnel, and the bandit is crossing your nose at Mach 0.9, you don't have time to think about who you trust. You either know or you die. You clear $40,000 in flight pay and bonuses that year. You send most of it home. You don't tell your family what you do. You say it's loud and you travel a lot. They don't ask more. They don't want to know. At night, in the berthing, You lie in your rack and listen to the creak of the hull. You think about the captain. You wonder what it takes to get that quiet. How many close calls? How many friends? You push the thought away. You have a brief tomorrow. You need to sleep. The system has a rule. You don't dwell, you move.
Level 3, the qualified. You've got 200 flight hours in type. You've done night traps, air-to-air refueling, and your first real-world mission, a combat air patrol over contested waters. You saw a surface-to-air missile launch from a ship below. It arced up, lost lock, and fell back into the sea. You didn't flinch. You didn't even call it out. Your lead saw it. He said nothing. After the flight, he just said, "Good scan." You're no longer the rookie. The new guys look at you the way you looked at the captain. They ask you questions. You give short answers. You don't have time to hold their hands. The sky doesn't care about feelings. You start to see the invisible codes, the way the squadron divides into tiers. There are the flyers, the maintainers, the administrators, and the politicians. The politicians are the ones who get promoted. They go to the Pentagon. They wear clean flight suits. They give briefs that sound impressive but say nothing. The flyers are the ones who do the work. They're the ones who stay late to debrief, who fly the difficult sorties, who don't complain when the mission shifts at the last minute. You realize you're becoming a flyer, and you realize the politicians resent you for it. One night in the bar, a lieutenant commander from another squadron buys you a drink. He asks about your family, your hobbies, where you see yourself in 5 years. You answer. The next day, your skipper calls you in. He says the lieutenant commander put in a good word for you. There's a staff job opening. It would mean leaving the squadron. It would mean no flying for 2 years. You decline. The skipper looks at you for a long time. Then he nods. All right, get out of here. You walk back to the line. The sun is setting over the runway. The aircraft are parked in a row, noses pointed into the wind. You realize you just traded a promotion for the stick. You don't know if that was smart. You know it was honest. That night, you dream about the missile again, but this time it doesn't fall back. It keeps coming.
Level 4, the instructor. They send you to the training command, not as a punishment, as a rotation. You're supposed to teach the next generation. You're supposed to pass on what you learned. You realize immediately that you can't. The students are kids. They're brilliant. They've got hours in simulators you never had. They know the book front to back. But they don't know the fear. They don't know what it feels like to be 500 miles from the boat with fuel low and weather closing in. You try to tell them. They nod. They don't understand. You take a kid up for his first solo ride in the T-38. He's good, really good. On the third pattern, he gets slow on final. You key the mic. Power. Power now. He adds power. He lands fine. After the flight, he's shaking. He asks if he screwed up. You say no. You don't tell him he was 3 seconds from a stall that would have killed him. You let him have the win. He needs it. You start to change. You become the quiet instructor, the one with the gnarled hands. You realize the lesson isn't in the words, it's in the presence. It's in being there, calm, while the student panics. You get a letter from your old captain. He's at the Pentagon now. He says he misses the flying. You know he's lying. He misses the people. The flying was just the excuse. You look at your students. They're so young. You feel a pang of something. Not regret. Something else. Grief, maybe. For the version of yourself that used to be them. You go back to your quarters. You look at your flight gear hanging on the door. The G-suit, the helmet, the patches. You realize you're becoming the person you used to ask for help. And you realize you don't know how to ask anymore.
Level 5, the flight lead. You're back in a tactical squadron. This time, you're the one in front. You have a wingman. His name is written on the side of your jet in chalk. You're responsible for him.
The mission is deep strike, low level, terrain masking, night, no moon. You're leading a 4-ship. The target is a simulated air defense site. The exercise is designed to be hard. The evaluators want to see how you handle stress. Halfway through the route, your wingman calls out a warning light. He's got a hydraulic failure. The jet is degrading. He can still fly, but his controls are heavy. He asks if he should push through or abort. You have 3 seconds to decide. If he aborts, the mission is compromised. The 2-ship behind you will have to adjust. The timing will be off. The simulated SAMs will have time to warm up. You might fail. If he pushes through, he risks a real failure, a real crash, a real death. You tell him to push. He doesn't hesitate. Copy, pushing. You complete the mission. You hit the target. You recover at the divert field because his hydraulics finally give out on final approach. He lands hard. The jet is damaged. He walks away. After the debrief, he finds you in the hallway. He doesn't thank you. He looks at you. You knew I could make it. You say yes. He nods and walks away. You go to the bar alone. You drink 1 beer. You think about the math, the calculation. You traded his life for the mission. You didn't even feel it. You just did it. That's what they trained you for. That's what you wanted. You wonder when you stopped being able to feel the weight of that choice. You wonder if you ever could. The next morning, you fly again. You don't think about it. You can't. The mission is waiting.
Level 6. The Squadron Commander. You have a desk now. It's made of metal and laminate. It has a phone with too many buttons. You wear a flight suit to work because you can, but you only fly once a week. The rest of the time you manage. You manage people. You manage budgets. You manage the political expectations of a group of officers who have never pulled G's, but who will decide your future. You learn a new language. It's made of PowerPoint slides and Manning documents and strategic alignment. You hate it. You're good at it. A young pilot comes to you. He's got a family issue. His wife is sick. He needs to stay home for a few months, non-flying duties only. He's asking for a waiver. You look at his file. He's one of your best. He's got the potential to be a flight lead, an instructor, maybe even a skipper someday. If you grant the waiver, his progression stalls. He'll be behind his peers. He might never catch up. If you deny it, he stays in the cockpit, but his wife suffers. His marriage might not survive. You grant the waiver. He thanks you. He leaves. You don't see him for 3 months. When he comes back, he's different. He's grateful, but he's also behind. And the pilots who passed him are now his superiors. He'll never lead them. You know this. He probably knows it too. You ask yourself if you did the right thing. The answer is yes. You ask yourself if you did the smart thing. The answer is no. That night, you go home to your empty house. You're divorced, have been for years. You don't think about it. You think about the pilot. You think about his wife. You wonder if they'll make it. You wonder if he'll resent you for the trade. You realize you're now the one making the calls that shape lives. You're the one in the hearing room. You're the one with the power. And it doesn't feel like power. It feels like a weight you can't put down.
Level 7. The Group Commander. 3 stars call you by your first name. You've briefed at the Pentagon, the Capitol, and a secure bunker somewhere in the Virginia countryside that doesn't appear on any map. You don't fly anymore. Not really. You go up once a quarter to maintain currency. But the flying is just a formality. Your job is somewhere else. Your job is to decide which squadrons deploy. which pilots get promoted, which programs get funded. You sit in meetings where the stakes are measured in billions of dollars and thousands of lives. You don't flinch. You can't. The system doesn't allow it. A colonel comes to you with a problem. One of his pilots made a mistake, a bad one, a procedural violation that led to a near miss with a civilian aircraft. The pilot is young. He's got a family. He's otherwise excellent. The colonel wants to retain him. You ask one question. Did anyone see it? The colonel hesitates. Yes, sir. Tower recorded it. You nod. Then he's done. The colonel starts to argue. You cut him off. If we keep him, the story gets out. The media runs with it. Cover-up in the Air Force. Then the investigation widens. Then they find the other things, the ones we don't talk about, the ones every squadron has. You lose 10 pilots to save one. That's not leadership. That's suicide. The colonel says nothing. He salutes. He leaves. You sit in your office. The walls are bare. You've never bothered to decorate. You look at the phone. It doesn't ring. You realize you're completely alone. Not physically. There are people everywhere. But they're not your people. They're subordinates. They're rivals. They're assets. They're not friends. You think about the young pilot. He'll be out in a month. His career over. His family uprooted. He'll never know why. He'll never know you made the call. He'll blame himself. He'll carry it for the rest of his life. You carry it too, but you don't feel it anymore. You can't. There's too much. Too many names. Too many faces. They blur together. You look out the window. There's a flight line in the distance. Aircraft are taking off. You can't hear them. The glass is too thick.
Level 8. The Ghost. You're not in the building anymore. You're not anywhere. You have a rank that doesn't exist on most charts. You have a budget that isn't in any public document. You have a job that has no title. You work in a windowless room in a building that doesn't appear on any map. The air is recycled. The lights are always on. You don't know if it's day or night. You don't care. Your job is to think about the future.